What's going on, everybody? Bobby Fire Sheets Haber already starting on a bad note because that home run in the 10th inning cost me the early slate, at least second place, maybe I think first. Actually, I was in first, but I didn't do all the math for that Orioles thing, so that was tilting. Just that extra innings nonsense. I also had swipes with my Seattle guys because I had a bunch of Seattle as well. But it's a winning slate. We'll move on to tonight. It's not like it's 100,000 for first anyway, so it's not like it's going to kill me. But I think we're ready for it. Sheets, anything you want to mention before we start getting into the slate?
Yeah, it's we're like in different mind frames. I won a little bit on the early slate. I was just fine with it. I guess because I wasn't ever teetering on first. Didn't really bother me.
Yeah, I don't care ever about it's always nice to make money or whatever, but I would rather lose than come in than have that happen. Much rather lose. Okay. But we're different that way. But yeah, it's an interesting slate for tonight's thing. Here's
the problem. Okay, the problem is that you can play Crochet and DeGrom with all the Angels and Athletics you want if you want to do that. And so we should say it's the problem. That's a fact. Okay. So what that is probably going to do is make the Phillies a little less owned than they otherwise would be because of what you could do with these Angels and Athletics. Right? That's the one thing I noticed.
Yeah.
The other thing I guess I want to break it down in this way. What hitting? By the way, for those of you who didn't know, Washington Atlanta was canceled. It was nice enough for them to at least announce it beforehand, which is good. Yeah. Do you like any of the hitting in the first set of games?
I'm just looking at what I've got here. 6:45. I'm just trying to double check that I'm at the right time.
So Mets, Red Sox, Texas Yankees, and San Diego, Toronto.
Toronto, I like.
Yeah, that would be the only one, right?
Yeah.
Now other stuff for the early games. As far as the pitching goes, I mean, DeGrom's obviously in play. Crochet is obviously in play. Question: Who would be other guys for the early games? Even though it's obviously not a great matchup, I can play some Gausman, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. So talk to me about these other pitchers. Talk to me about McGill for openers.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Okay.
I have no issue with the McGill thing. Nobody's got a good matchup today, so. I have no issue with the McGill. It's 50 degrees in Boston with 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from center. Okay. Seems like a reasonable enough spot. That we've seen some big strikeout games from the Red Sox, although they've been better lately. I'm okay with. I guess as far as the later games go, Sears.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I'm trying to separate these into two slates, sort of. So. We know what's coming in the later games, right? We got 1, 2, I would say 6 teams out of 6 that you can play, really.
Yeah.
So is it worth just really not playing any hitters in the first 3 games? You know what I mean? You're going to end up chalky doing that, but you also get more flexibility doing that.
Yeah.
So I was really just thinking about how to handle rules and what to X out and whatever. I don't want to. I know what I'm going to end up getting. Okay, what I'm going to end up getting. I just looked at some of these stacks. If I just run stuff and sim it out, is I'm getting. I know I'd be getting either the Yankees. Excuse me, either the Rangers or the Mets because of the top pitchers. And so I imagine just the Mets hitters are better. That I'd probably get the Mets, and that's exactly what I would get. So I just ran some sims, whatever, and I'd be getting 33% Mets, right? So if I wanted to not do that, for example, I could X out these first 3 games and commit to the chalk. You know what I mean? Like commit to playing all these things. But what you gain from playing that way again is the flexibility to screw around. You know what I mean? Like if you need it. What do you think of DeGrom and Crochet? Because we've talked about these guys a lot, and every single time DeGrom it's the same. Everyone's like, well, maybe he's coming back around, maybe he's great, and maybe whatever, and it's never really seems to be the case. Like it
He's been
doesn't really
awesome.
seem to be the case.
I don't know. He's been awesome. Like
You
lately.
think? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's. I think it's pretty clear and easy. Terrible hitting conditions in New York.
It's definitely cold. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's cold and there's 15-mile-an-hour winds. Like I don't. This feels like a very easy. This is the one we got to get, by the way, Sheets.
So do you like him better than Crochet?
No, I think I like Crochet better.
Crochet better, but DeGrom, I mean, is like not somebody you're going to actively fade, is what you're saying. Okay.
No, definitely not.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I want nothing in terms. Like I'm doing only 4-man stacks again. It's a small slate. Almost got to do the photo op with one earlier. The screenshot, but.
Yeah.
But
now when you played it, did you have 4-4s or was it just like a 4-man?
Yeah, my best ones were mostly 4-4s and 4-3-1s because of the what's it called? The Seattle guys, great guys hit home runs for me. I really didn't. It's like honestly, that was like a better scoring slate than like almost any slate we've seen lately, because there was home runs, there was all kinds of scoring from everybody. Yeah, so we both won on the early slate, but we're different levels of excited about it.
What about like Colorado as a stack today?
Yeah, I think that's completely viable. I mean, like, I don't know if I'm buying these Phillies are not going to be owned thing.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Like it doesn't. Let me just see. Let's get some better projections here, and let's take a look at yours and Goldie's. I mean, it is weird. Yeah, I guess what you could do is you could play Dustin May and play the Phillies. I also think the Rockies are completely viable against Walker. Yeah, I like all the things. I even think it's good hitting weather in LA. Like I like Dustin May a lot, and we've seen good and bad out of him. Obviously, it's not a good matchup, but not one pitcher has a good matchup. He's cheaper. I think Dustin May is very much alive and in play here. But I also think that game, like, boy, Corbin Burns, you don't see a 5-run total against him very often. He did just face the Dodgers, and he was really good against us.
It's a lot of salary for him, I think, in this matchup.
No, I'm talking about stacking the Dodgers.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see, like, whenever the Dodgers are going to be low owned, I'm always on board. I know they haven't been as great lately, but definitely want to be overweight on them.
I think Conforto hasn't had a hit in a long time, right? I mean,
he had a couple last night.
Did he?
I don't think he'll play today though.
No, okay.
It's a getaway day. I have no idea who's going to play. Like, I don't think anybody does. I don't think the team knows who's going to play today.
What now? You had mentioned that what Saberson doing, giving me like 70% of the Carson Palmquist. I'll see you one, and I'll raise you
on FanDuel. No, there's nothing crazier than that.
I'll see you and raise you one. My actually highest owned pitcher right now on DraftKings is the Jack Kokanovich.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
You think he's actually has a chance as opposed to like a Carson Palmquist?
Yeah, I don't like the Kokanovich play, by the way. But I'm getting it some. I'll just be real. Like Palmquist has a much higher upside, I think, than Kokanovich. Kokanovich can't strike anybody out, but you have a team that strikes out a ton. So maybe that's. I mean, he's got the lowest strikeout prop by a lot today. Like it's 3.2, which is really bad. Yeah, it's an astronomical difference between the Crochet DeGrom with the strikeouts.
Yeah,
Palmquist actually has like a reasonable strikeout number, but I don't know what we're basing that off of. He's had one start in the majors. He was horrible, and I don't know. I think if you're going to do something different at pitcher, you play May and Gausman. I don't think you need to think about this one too hard. I might just the Kakanevich. I'm just like, why do I have to try and walk between these raindrops? Like, he's 5,700, I guess, and I mean he did have 19 in his last game against the Dodgers, which is just was very fluky that he was walking guys and they were hitting the ball right at people over the place. He's probably a little more likely to get blown up than he is to pitch well. He probably ends up with like 5 or 6 fantasy points, but I guess I mean, look, it's strange what it's giving you here. They're going for it, and I don't know, man. I'm kind of open to the idea of playing the May and the Gausman. I don't really want to do that. So like, I know Kakanevich, I might just leave it in the lottery or whatever, but I'm not playing him in any high buy-ins. Sears, I would consider playing in a high buy-in at least. May, I would do that. I would consider. I mean, honestly, people should be considering Burns too. Like, it is the Dodgers, but I don't like that he just faced them. So that's probably why I do like the Dodgers. But he's pretty much dominated. He's like probably got the best numbers against this Dodger lineup of any pitcher.
I'll tell you. One of the things I've been doing again is toggling back and forth between what my exposures would look like without. Oh my! I feel so bad for you, dude. I'm literally like I literally feel your pain as you suffer it yourself.
No, sorry. I'll figure something
Don't
out.
apologize. I mean, like it's not great. But what I was going to say is that I toggle between what my exposures look like without using the sims and with. So that's usually a good way to figure out who like the best plays are. So I just ranking even by Saber score. I have, it would have 80% Crochet, 70% DeGrom, and then really nobody over 10%. I mean, McGill would be the next one, at 14 or something like that. And then as far as team stacks go, I would be getting 93% Angels, 38% Athletics. And then actually next one would be the Rangers and Phillies and Diamondbacks and Rockies all at like 10%. So these Angels are just so cheap. You know what I mean? You could 5-man them all day long, and that's why they're going to be popular in that way.
Yeah.
And then again, as I mentioned, when I apply the sims, it's just like a whole different, it's just a whole different ball game,
Yeah.
Then I'd be getting, the exposure that I just mentioned. And Arizona, Mets. And, it's tough to play Arizona, because Dustin May, he keeps it on the ground. He can keep it on the ground. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I don't need to be attacking him, do I? I mean,
but the thing is, they are an elite offense. Like, there's like, I mean, really, like, I hate to say this, but this is like one of those anything goes kind of slates to me.
Okay.
I think Dustin May has plenty of upside, and I think there's also downside, and he can pitch to contact if he does pitch to contact a pretty decent amount. Like, he'll against these Diamondbacks that can be dangerous, especially because it's warm and there's wind blowing out here. It's really warm actually in LA. So yeah, I see both sides of pretty much all of these pitchers with the exception of DeGrom and Crochet. I'm just not stacking against those guys.
Yeah.
And that Yankee weather, it looks like it's going to be okay, but it doesn't feel.
It's not going to rain, I don't think, or anything like that. But
really?
it's just cold and windy, I think.
It's got like a lot of precipitation things. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we're on completely different. I'm drenched right now. I can't wait to get out of here just because I take my shirt off. I probably take my hat off right now just to like cool down a little. All right, so yeah, so what I'm getting right now is, and I'm going to rebuild in a second on DraftKings. I'm getting a lot of the Phillies, and I'm getting like a little bit of the Dodgers, a lot of the Angels, a lot of the Rockies. So basically, really targeting Coors and is what SaberSim is giving me. And I've made a couple tweaks, but not like I usually do. Not going crazy with it.
Now, it would be nice for DeGrom to have a good game for a survivor. That would be.
This is what we need. This is the one we need to get.
Yeah,
I think if we get this game, we're feeling pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pick 'em, so
that's true.
So we can get it.
This is kind of who's pitching for the Yankees? Yarbrough? He's not in play,
Yeah.
is he?
He's going to pitch like probably 65, 70 pitches.
Okay.
I mean,
we don't have a lineup yet for Philly for whatever that's worth.
they just released theirs. We don't have the Dodgers, Arizona, Angels, or A's.
We gonna get any? We gonna get any Joe Adele today, or?
So that would be the way. Well, the way to get different with the Angels stack would be because they're also cheap. It would be to play the guys at the bottom of the order. So like yesterday when I hand built, I specifically went out of my way and played Kyron Paris and Joe Adele, because they are like Joe Adele. I mean, Kyron Paris is batting ninth, and he's like the same price as Taylor Ward, who's batting cleanup, and Taylor Ward ended up, I think he was 30% owned, and I think that Kyron Paris was 2% owned. So I think you got to take some gambles like that. That's my take. I think Saberson will give you some of that too. But man, this is the lowest on a small slate. It's the lowest ownership you're going to see on the Dodgers probably this season. Well, on a small slate, on a 6-gamer. I mean, there might be, who knows? They might end up on a 6-gamer with Skeens. Even then, I don't know. Let me double check that I'm right about that. Let's just see, because it is just like tempting. I mean, they have a big run total. They're expensive. Yeah, I'm getting plenty of them, and no one's playing them based on any projections out there. Only Ohtani looks like he's getting any love. I'm kind of into it. I'm kind of into taking some of the Dodgers shots. And again, I'm not having any 5-man stacks, so I'm gonna have more stack exposure than most people have. Wait, hold on. Team stacks. Let me see. So now after rerunning, I've got Dodgers, A's, Phillies. I don't want Texas. I'm just gonna X out Texas. Well, it's not that I have this respect for Yarbrough. It's just that game looks so ugly for hitting. Why do I need to play a Texas stack? I'll just get no more than 10% or something. It just doesn't. Oh, there we go. Wait, something happened. They heard me. They dropped it.
What happened?
I don't know. All of a sudden, like it like blipped, and then Texas was like, oh no. And then I'm back to the Phillies, Colorado. I don't know what made it happen though.
Wait, so somebody's lineup just came in. Who'd you say came in? Oh, Phillies came in.
Phillies, yeah, it's pretty standard, I believe. Yeah.
I think everybody that I had projected in is in.
Okay. And let's see. Dodgers.
And of those, by the way, of my Philly exposure right now, the highest owned I have are the 5-6, are Real Muto and Bomb, actually.
Yeah. Let me just see something real quick.
I have 0 Bryce Harper right now. That's a little scary.
It's weird to get them without. Well, I guess because of the price. Bryce Harper. Let me see real quick. Oh, it's not that much of a different price. I mean, I like when I hand build and Philly's like going to be popular, which again, no matter what they say, they're still going to have ownership.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really smart to play the lefties. They're lefties. It doesn't really matter to them against lefties, and they get they get lower ownership because of it. Like Castellanos being the highest owned Philly, probably should never ever happen.
Okay.
So I would go out of my way to do that. That's just like an old school trick that you learn when it was all hand building. How can I get different within these things? Okay, well the people don't like the lefty thing, so we'll only play the lefties that are in the lineup.
Right.
D Pope is asking if we would suggest 80% crochet. I'm not suggesting it, no, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I've got 65% right now.
Okay, so let's talk about these percentages for a second. Okay, so if you're talking about, I guess it should make a difference, but if you're playing like 500 lineups, you probably don't need 80% crochet. But if you play 5 lineups,
then you probably want 80% of somebody.
Then you could play 4 out of 5 with crochet. That's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
I think like a cooler question is how many lineups do you want to play in like a big portfolio that have neither Crochet nor DeGrom? I mean, you should have some, but how many really?
So you have like Sears, McGill, Gaussman, and May. I don't mind having some of that.
No, I know. Yeah, just a question of how much.
I think most likely though, you're seeing one of Crochet or DeGrom on the winning lineup tonight.
I hope so. I mean, but I'm saying I think you see at least one of them in most of the lineups as well. It's like,
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
which is why one of the reasons why it's probably going to be in the winning lineup.
Right. Let me see something really quick, just to make sure I have my alarm set for before these games start, because it's a little, there's a chance you might get a little bit of a lower ownership boost because of if the lineups aren't out, like the Dodgers, A's. I mean, you're still gonna have plenty of room to switch, but like some people will. Well, maybe they won't play the first game at 6:45, but if they don't have it by 7:07, then you might get a little bit lower ownership on some of those guys, and you probably should be okay leaving money on the table.
Is there any? I mean, I didn't really run anything with FanDuel today because they banned me. But are they? But is there any game on FanDuel that's not on DraftKings?
No.
Okay.
Not that I noticed, at least, unless I totally missed something. I don't think I did. No, that's right. Yeah, Toronto's the one team I kind of want to force a little bit in, which just feels bad. These guys just, I don't know. I want a little more pop. But it doesn't feel that bad. I mean, so Toronto. So if I had to rank them in terms of my high buy-ins, I think I'll have Dodgers mixed in. I don't know if I'll have like a stack, but maybe like a 3-man or something. And then I think the main ones for me would, I mean, if I can find a way to get Philly, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. So I actually do think Toronto might end up being more popular for me than I thought, because the Angels are going to be really chalky. I think the A's are the best play along with Philly. I think I'm going to talk myself into some Toronto stuff. All right. I'm going to take a quick look at the NBA. I know it's a little bit later, but
yeah. So what do you? First of all, I think we're both sort of in agreement. We both kind of like Indiana tonight.
I do like Indiana in this series. I'm not sure about tonight.
Okay.
Last night I had a stronger take. It didn't work because they didn't get there anyway. But last night I had a stronger take a little bit. The guys who, so I'll tell you what I did, and I'm very, very barely touching the projections. It worked out. It's been working out pretty well for the playoffs for me. But I raised Obi Toppin's projection. I basically raised like all the bench guys' projections, which is kind of weird. And the one, my favorite play in this series is going to be, this feels like a good Josh Hart series to me. Because he is going, they play fast. And I think that he can excel at like in that sort of environment. I think one of he or Anunoby are going to be like guys who I'm trying to captain a lot in this series. And I think Hart has the kind of game where he could be the highest scoring player. So I'm raising his projection a pretty decent amount. It's kind of strange that I'm just getting used to this FanDuel thing. Because they have a big one going for tonight.
Okay.
100K for first, which is bigger than the DraftKings one. Oh wait, no, DraftKings has it too. But I really like the idea of trying to get Josh Hart in my higher buy-ins for captains at least. I'm raising him up quite a bit. I think this is his kind of series, and I think people are gonna be on it a little bit, but I just think he's the one who just I could talk myself into that makes the most sense. I also like Benedict Mathurin in this series. I think they might need a little bit of his scoring off the bench, and I think he'll have opportunities without their best defenders on the court, which is hardly ever, but he'll get some. I like I mentioned the top end for the series. I'm probably a little bit lower on Cat, a little bit higher on McBride in the field. Mitch Robb, I'm very curious. I don't know what's going to happen with him in this series, because this is not a series where he's such a good defender. But I just wonder how it plays out in this versus Boston. Boston was spacing too, but I guess it should be similar. I just maybe the first game I'll sort of hold back a little bit of my enthusiasm towards him. So I dropped him 0.8 whatever as of a point. And I think you're going to see better offense from Cat in this series as well. But I also think he's likely to get in foul trouble because of the pace, and he just reaches his hand so much against these guards who are attacking.
Meanwhile, I mean, I just want to just say again, I mean, the Celtics are not in the playoffs anymore.
Thank God.
It's like so cool. I mean, like
I love it. I love it. It's one of I hate their brand of basketball. So I really like. I mean, I don't mind shooting a bunch of threes, but I just think it's gross. Like it gets tiresome. It's just I don't know. When you're never you're like literally never getting a layup, and you're bragging that you're passing the ball 10 times. You're just rotating it around the perimeter. It's whatever. And then whoever decides to shoot it gets to shoot it. Great, cool story. I think they need to do something because I think the game is on the verge of getting a little less interesting because of these 3-point shooting. It's just I'm becoming that old guy. Somehow this year this shoulder injury is maybe what's doing it to me. But I feel like I've aged like 10 years with my takes in the last like couple days. All right, let's see. All right, so I've got my basketball. I'm just waiting. We're just waiting for the baseball lineups. I can't really do much else without the baseball lineups. What else is there? I got my golf stuff figured out.
You got your golf? Oh, do you?
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, I'm still continuing to update projections and stuff.
Really wondering how the ownership ends up because I've got a lot of guys that like Brian Harmon, my second highest owned golfer on FanDuel, actually that is on DraftKings. Berger, Harmon, Gerard, Bhatia. Those are my top 5. Oh, after Scheffler, obviously. Hisatsune, I've got a bunch of. Yeah, the Bhatia is one I don't really get why he's not popular here. For what it's worth. So, and then I've got a ton of the Henrik Norlander, which is looking like it's like a 1-2% at the moment, but we'll see what it ends up with.
Who I gotta remember who's that guy that I said? Oswald Cobblepot? Wait, who did I have?
Alec Potgetter.
Poltergeister, right? Exactly.
Yeah, but it's it's he's a name. By the way, he's a name in the golf.
Oh, he is a name. That's for sure.
He's like people talk about him in the golf world.
Oh, I thought I just talked about his name.
No. Another one that I really like that I didn't get as mentioned, I might have to take a look back at is Ricky Castillo, even though it's spelled Castillo, it's Castillo, or at least that's how they pronounce it on the golf podcasts. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about the golf this week. I feel like there's going to be an uptick for me after a couple of down weeks. I could sure use it. I might get out of here in a few minutes just because I'm gonna go get the Theragun and start treating this thing.
Yeah, Theraguns are nice,
dude. It's a savior. I don't know if I'm making myself worse, but everybody says it's okay. So I've talked to.
There's no way it could be negative.
Well, like if there's like a nerve damage, they said there's something that it could be, but I don't know. But that was just the worst case scenario. So I'm hoping you're right because I'm certainly going to be using it. Yeah. Do you have
a hot tub?
I mean, we have a bathtub, but not a hot tub. Oh yeah, I have a hot tub. There's a hot tub that like we have a pool and a hot tub.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I try to do, but then it's like 100 degrees outside, so it's like it's a little tricky. Not really 100. It's like 90 or whatever. But that is what I think I'm going to do a little after lock. All right, man. Do you mind if I bounce?
No, you can knock me out too. It sounds good to me.
All right, good luck.
So everybody. Just wait. So I did want to ask. So you just real quick. So you mentioned. So you're kind of hoodoo. I wanted one hoodoo for the showdown. So you think Toppin maybe?
He's one that I can certainly get behind.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Matherin as a captain is a sneaky one.
Matherin, right? That was the other guy, right?
But I think that. I always want to see how these series play because there's a lot to speculate on the first game and everything. But I want to see I always like the second game better because you get the adjustments. The first one is a little bit trickier. Right. But those are the ones that I think this should lend this. Oh, this is not a hoodoo anymore. But Thomas Bryant is playing real minutes for this team.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah. That's one I think you're going to end up getting to a little bit naturally. Maybe not actually. How? I don't know. I guess maybe with the way the pricing is because we don't have the super pay ups. Maybe he's not going to end up there as much because I think that at 1K, he's not bad to take a shot on. The thing is though that like top in 36, it's kind of easy to fit in the builds you want even without him. Matherin's only 4K. Matherin feels like so Josh Hart could win a slate because he can be the highest scoring player. That's completely on the table. But Matherin could be like he's never going to be the highest scoring player in the game, but he could get like 35 or 40 out of the blue, and that's the guy that could win it for you. I think that's totally on the table.
You know what I like? I like the idea that you mentioned that Cat has a better series.
Yeah.
I mean, this I don't think Indiana's going to be guarding him too well. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a interesting situation here, but it's exciting for the Knicks. For your sake, I hope they win. I don't care that much about Indiana winning. I do think Indiana was my sleeper pick, but we'll see.
At 11 o'clock tonight, I'm going to go live where look at the MLB lobbies. Also, I'm going to probably do a recap of why my Knicks lost, and then do like a live lineup build. I'll do both PGA Classic and Showdown probably.
Nice. I'll join you.
Maybe and then maybe people are still around. Maybe I'll do my League of Legends stuff or whatever. But I'll be around to kind of just jerk around and see what we can.